Hello, hello, hello. My name is Linda Peavy, and I'm the founder of Apov Consulting. And today we are going to host the webinar Grant Writing for Women Business Owners. And shortly, we are going to welcome our guest into the webinar where it is going to be full of great information that we know will be helpful. So once again, and we see our guests are coming in. My name is Linda Peavy again, and I'm the owner of Apov Consulting. I'm going to be your host for today. And we're going to talk about how to secure the bag, right? How to get some of this grant money for women-owned organizations, including small businesses and also women-led nonprofits. Now, I am in Northeast Ohio, where it is a chilly, chilly, chilly 27 degrees and it's snowing. So as you come into the chat, say hello. Hello, Dorothy Wooden. Tell us where you're coming in from, your city and state. Give your city or your state a shout out. Hey, Lyria Wilson, nice to see you in here. Come on into the webinar. Charlotte, ooh, you're in Dallas. I bet it's not 27 degrees in Dallas. I bet it's not snowing in Dallas. It is snowing here. I mean, it is really snowing here. And it is so cold. Hey, Mika, come on in. We have such a great afternoon for you. Hey, Michelle. Well, hey, we got a lot of Texas people in today. We've got Shireen. We've got New Jersey, Baltimore, Urbana in the house in Illinois, Boynton Beach, oh, Florida. I bet it's not 27 degrees there. And we welcome Moria from Edinburgh, Scotland. Hey, we got Scotland in the house. I'm so glad. Oh, in New Ireland, Mississippi. I'm so glad to have the international guest on today because what I'm going to be talking about, these grants are absolutely available to you as well. We're going to show you how to do the research. So come on in. My name is Linda Peavy. I'm the owner of Apov Consulting, and I'm going to be your host for today. We're going to talk about how you get this grant money for your women-owned organization, including small businesses and nonprofits. Now, most of you who know me know that this is a no fluff zone. We're going to go really fast. There's a lot of information. Don't worry. Everything is being recorded. Okay. You will get a free replay at the end. And we're going to get started because we have so much information to provide for you today. And so the first thing I'm going to do is open up my slides here and start the presentation. And a little bit of housekeeping, though. I know you're going to have a lot of questions, and that's fine. Put your questions in the Q&A or the chat. And anybody who knows me know at the end of this webinar, I get through every single question. So please don't be shy. Put those questions into the chat. And we are going to start our presentation. But the first thing I'm going to do is show you like a 30-second commercial that was on TV about my organization. And it's just going to give you a little bit more information about who I am and what I do. And we are going to get started with it.
Hi, I'm Linda Peavy, owner of Apov Consulting. My passion is to place your organization on the path to excellence. Are you struggling to communicate your message, reach target audiences, or secure funding? From marketing communications to grant writing, we achieve your goals. We've worked with high-profile clients and have secured $17 million in funding for charter schools and nonprofits. Call today to discuss what your success looks like and how Apov Consulting can help.
All right, so that's a little bit more about me. And we are going to start our presentation. And definitely, again, I want you to put your questions into the Q&A because we're going to do a really great in-depth Q&A. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere because I have a surprise for you at the end. So we are ready to rock and roll. All right, so we are at the noon session. I have a live one tonight at 7 o'clock as well. But this is the noon session about grant writing for women-owned businesses. A little bit more about me. Yes, they call me the grants queen because I have secured over $17 million in funding and business development. I have written everything from those requests for proposals. I've scored grants before, but I've also helped organizations to build partnerships And yes, I do hold grant writing workshops all across the country. And for those of you who are nonprofits, I've been the executive director of a nonprofit, so I know where you are. So let me know in the chat, are you a small business? Are you a nonprofit? Or what I'm finding is that you have a lot of for-profits that are now starting nonprofits, right? So maybe you're both. So put into the chat, nonprofit, for-profit, or maybe you are both, and let's see who's with us. So a little bit more about my journey, right, to getting to $17 million. I used to be a publishing executive in Pennsylvania many years ago, but I got hurt and I had to come back home to Cleveland, Ohio, literally in a wheelchair because I couldn't walk, I couldn't stand. It took me 2 years to recuperate, and when I got better, couldn't find a job. It didn't matter that I had over 20 years of experience. We know that Cleveland, right, is not exactly the publishing mecca, right, of the United States. And I had all this publishing and marketing experience. So guess what? I started my own company. I started LaPav Consulting. And this is the 15th year of me owning my own company full time. And it's been a journey. It's been a wonderful journey. But when I started, one of the first customers I had wanted me to be an executive director of a nonprofit. It was a contract position. And so when I started, like literally the first week, I got called into the board of directors office, right, where they meet. And I was told that all of a sudden I needed to write a grant to literally save my job, to save the job of the executive director, which meant I was saving the job of the company. And look, we're women. You know that so many times we as women, we are called in to save the day. Sometimes it's to save a project or to save a program, or sometimes in this case, it's to save the entire organization. But you know what? I learned how to write grants. I sure did. And I saved my job and I saved the organization. And I see we have nonprofits here with us. Dorothy is a nonprofit. We have a lot of small businesses. Hey, we have both. That's excellent. So we have a really good mix of both. And I ask you this question so that you know that whether or not you're a nonprofit or a small business, I'm going to help you today. What did I learn from that experience is that I tell you, grant money, free grant money, there's a connection. Like you learn how to write these grants and you get free grant money. You're going to hear that word all afternoon, free, free, free. So what are we going to cover in this class? Why is this class important? The 3 keys to funding that we'll cover, the philanthropic landscape, which is critical to where we are now, grant basics. How do you prepare to write grants? What do you write? How do you write? How do you attract the right funder? As a woman-owned organization, we're going to spend just a second talking about bid proposals because I know oftentimes, especially the small businesses, rather, you want contracts, right? It's not always grant money. Sometimes you bid on contracts. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And then really, how do you get that application noticed, right? Then we're going to talk about how do you find the money? How do you find the money? It's like, show me the money. How do you find it? And then I'm going to give you a list of available grants. Yes, don't go anywhere. Stay until the end. And then I have a bonus surprise. So why this class? Why are we here? Look, we know as women entrepreneurs and nonprofits, it would be nice to have funding other than loans, right? We want free money. We want grant money because grant money is free. But I can tell you that a grant writer can be very expensive because grant writing is a skill. I'm a professional grant writer. And I know someone of my skill level, we charge anywhere between $100 to $200 an hour. However, you can learn these skills, right? Because at the end of the day, nobody is going to tell your story better than you. So why not learn this process? It's not as scary as you think. Learn this process because you don't have to be a professional grant writer to secure grant money. You have to know the process, and I'm here to show you the process. So 2 incidents completely changed the landscape of philanthropy. One was COVID-19, right? Before COVID-19, it was unheard of for small for-profit businesses to get grant money. Who got grants? Nonprofits, right? But what happened in COVID-19? We had thousands and thousands of small businesses going under. And you know that small businesses are the backbone of this country. So guess what happened? 2 people took notice, 2 organizations. One was foundations. Foundations said, look, we have to do something about the fact that these small businesses are going under. And then your major corporations like your Fortune 50 and Fortune 100 and 500 companies said the same thing. It's like, we have all these small businesses going under. We have to do something. So they created pools of free grant funding. And that's why now, more so than ever before, there is money for you, not only as a nonprofit, but as a for-profit woman-owned business, right? The second incident, George Floyd. So when the George Floyd incident happened, again, foundations and your major corporations said, we can't sit back and do nothing. We have to do something to address racial injustice in the country. And so what did they do? They created pools of free grant funding to try to help organizations that are addressing racial injustice, or what we call DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, or any socially conscious causes. It could be homelessness or poverty. What it meant was that, once again, you have pools of grant money available, free money available to you as a woman-owned business, and to you as if you have Black-owned businesses that are present. And especially if you are a Black woman-owned business, right? You're a double minority. So the money is available. It's about getting it. So now we're going to talk about grant basics. What do you need to know? Grants are not paid back, right? That's the most important thing. Now, I saw that I do have some nonprofits. So this is just for nonprofits, okay? As a nonprofit, you must get your 501c3. What is that document? That is really a designation by the Internal Revenue Service to say that you're tax exempt. But also it allows anyone who's giving donations to you to write those donations off as charitable deductions on their tax return. Why is it important to have that 501c3? Because the overwhelming majority of foundations only give grant money to 501c3 nonprofits. So you've got to get your 501c3. Don't use a fiscal agent, which is an organization that has their 501c3 that's literally serving as like a third party person. They're getting the funding, they're getting the grants for you, and then they give the grant money to you. Well, you don't want a third party entity handling your grant funding. And foundations really don't want to deal with fiscal agents. If they're funding your program, they want to make sure the money is going directly to you. Now, the good news is that while it used to take literally 3 to 6 months to get your 501c3, right now it's taking 6 to 8 weeks. So now is the time. As you're doing your research for grants and as you're looking for grants, nonprofits, get that 501c3. Now, look at this slide. This is annual funding, and this is just from foundations, okay? Just from foundations. 2021, it increased to over $90 billion. Ladies, it's over $90 billion. And you know what? In 2022, when those numbers come in, it's going to be even higher. That is a lot of money. And you know what? Do we need it all? No, we don't need it all. We're not trying to be greedy. We just need a little bit. Can you imagine what you would do with just a little bit of $90 billion? I want you to put into the chat. I just need a little bit. I want to see it in the chat. I just need a little bit. Can you imagine just a little bit of $90 billion? I give you this slide so that you know the money is available. Please don't let anybody tell you grant money is not available, right? People thought that because we were in a pandemic, giving would go down, there would be no giving. It increased. And that is what happens when there's any type of, nationwide emergency or issue. Giving increases. That's what I'm talking about. Jana and Wynell and Deborah and Charlotte. We just need a little bit, right? We don't want to be greedy. We don't need the whole $90 billion. I'm going to show you how you get just a little bit of that money. Beverly, Michelle, you just need a little bit to launch your business, right? Now we're going to talk about how do you prepare to apply for grants. And this is a mistake too many organizations make. They see a grant application, they complete it, and that's it, right? And then they get that rejection letter. You have to prepare to write grants. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to submit a grant application that is not full of grammatical errors, okay? So in order to do that, I always ask everybody, just hone up on your writing skills, and that's what we're going to do. We know there's 5 basic writing skills. We're just going to do it number 5, editing and rewriting, right? This particular document here is going to help you become a better writer. And Kelsey is helping me today, my trusty assistant. If you could drop that link. Grammarly. I'm going to be giving you tea all afternoon. This is like the first cup of tea. Grammarly is an editing software tool that will make you a better writer. So please, 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 this is your homework. Download Grammarly. Okay, it is free. So those of you who are using Grammarly, put into the chat what your experience has been. This article here will make you a better writer. I'm a professional writer and a professional editor. I still use this article because it helps with your writing skills, improve writing skills dramatically by doing these 15 things. So the link is in there. Make sure you get it and do your homework. It is phenomenal. And Grammarly, oh my gosh, free, free, free. Maira, I'm sorry. I know I butchered your name. And Jania, Charlotte, you all use Grammarly. Excellent. Isn't it like phenomenal, right? So now we are preparing to write those grants. What do? These are the documents that you need. Your EIN, your employer identification number. If you are a nonprofit, your 501c3, for you for-profits, you need your business license or your articles of incorporation, your bylaws, your state certification, which is your business license. Now, not every state requires a state certification or a business license, but you must find out if yours does. A young lady was on my webinar last year, and she was saying that she was applying for a grant, and the competition was so stiff, and she was the only one that got the grant because she was the only one that could supply her state certification or her business license, right? So more homework. Go to your Secretary of State's website, find out whether or not you are required to have a business license in your state. So these are for the for-profits. More homework. What else do you need? Your board of directors list. Letters of support become important, right? And those you need to start early. Who are you getting those from? Could be your community leaders, your pastor, your church, your vendors, right? And what they're saying is that you deserve to get the grant money, and they believe in you, what you do, whether it's a nonprofit or a for-profit. They're providing that letter to say that they have faith in your organization and what you're providing, that you deserve the grant funding. So give those people time to write it. This is why you're doing this before you write the grant. Some grants ask for an audited financial statement. It just depends. You need a current operating budget. And for you startups, right, you need an operating budget. Why? Because you need to know how much money your organization is going to cost, or your nonprofit or your for-profit. You have to know how much money we're talking about that you need to function in order to even know what to ask for from a grant funder, right? So when you complete that operating budget, you're going to see whether or not there are gaps there. Maybe you thought of everything. Maybe you have the building. Maybe you have the employees, but maybe you realize, oh my gosh, I didn't put in any money for marketing. Okay, I need to write a grant for marketing. So that operating budget is important, whether you are a startup or whether you've been in business for 20 years, right? Also list any other funding sources on the grant application. No funder wants to be the only one. Why is this important? Because if I'm a funder and I realize that you don't have any other funding, and I give you $20,000, and the next year I don't give you anything, because we know grants aren't guaranteed from year to year, I don't want to be put in a position to think that, okay, after year one, if you don't have any other money coming from anywhere else, you're going to go under, right? They don't want that pressure. So other funders, now this could include in-kind donations, right? It could include any other materials that are donated to you, right? But definitely any type of grants or funding that you have, you should include on that application. Now we're talking about what to write. These are your typical grant components of your typical application. We're going to run through the list and then go through each one of these. Summary abstract, mission, vision, history, leadership, description of organization, your statement of need, describing your program, community partnerships, your results, right, which is your outputs, outcomes, impact, your staff, your board, your budget, and then sustainability. All right, we're going to start with summary abstract, right? So what you need to know is that I don't want you to be fooled. You're going to see this first. This is the first component of that grant application, but you always write it last. Why? Because it's going to include the most compelling components of that grant application. So don't be fooled. You're going to see it first. Always write it last. Next, your mission vision statement. Now, most of you should have a mission statement, right? That's what you're doing now, your aims, your goals, but do you have a vision statement? You're going to be asked about your vision statement on the grant application. What is it? Is what you would like to have happen in the future if you are achieving your mission statement. So more homework, write your vision statement. Next, this is so important to align your mission statement to the funder, right, that's providing the money. Because if you are focusing on K through 12 and the grant that you're going after, the funder really focuses on providing resources for the homeless, that's not a connection, right? You need to make sure that your mission is aligned to the mission of the funder. Next, your history. So a lot of people might think, well, I'm just starting out. I really don't have a history. Not true. Your history can be your impetus for starting your new organization, right? I always use the example of the retired principal. She worked in high school for 20 years, 9 through 12, right? And now she's starting this tutoring organization because she realizes that those kids are not performing at grade level proficiency for reading and math. And so she's starting this tutoring organization. Well, when she talks about the history, she's going to talk about the time that she spent in that high school looking and learning about the fact that these kids were underperforming consistently, right? So that's why she started the tutoring organization. So think about why you started your for-profit or your nonprofit, because that becomes a part of the history, right? So leadership, that just includes like your CEO, your COO, and your board of directors. Next, the description, when you're describing your organization, but you're not just describing it, you're talking about your success rate and your success factors. This is what is going to set you apart, and your track record for working with the target population, right? So that particular principal who wants to start the tutoring organization, well, she's been working in K through 12 education and specifically with high schools for 20 years. So she has experience working with the target population. These are the things you're going to talk about in the grant application that really is going to set that application apart. You have to bring your experience into that grant application. Next, statement of need. And what do you need to know about the statement of need when it's asked? Is that you are addressing what problem it is that you're solving. And let me tell you, there's always a problem. Doesn't matter what you do, whether or not you're a service organization or a product-based organization. And I love to use the example of the bakery. There's a bakery that wants to open in a downtown location. You might be thinking, well, like, how is she solving a problem? How is she addressing an issue? Well, there's several issues that she's addressing. One, she wants to relocate in an area where there's been failed businesses. So when she relocates there, she's going to be contributing to the economic development of that particular area in the downtown community, right? Next, she's going to be servicing businesses that really don't have any decent catering because there's not a really great bakery within a mile radius of where she's located. So she's going to be able to provide these businesses with these great cupcakes, or whether it's cookies or pastries or whatever, so that they can in turn have the opportunity to maybe impress their clients, right? Because they have these fabulous baked goods. So whatever you're doing, always think of it as, what am I addressing? Even if you're a service-based organization. So there's one service organization who works in career development, right? She's literally helping people who've been either fired from their jobs or quit, and they don't know their next move. And she's helping them determine, okay, do I want to go back to a 9 to 5, or do I want to start my own business? Well, that's a lot of talent that's out of the job market, right? And so the issue is she's helping people to find where their futures are, right? And to put these skills to use. So always think about what you're doing in terms of addressing a problem, because you will be asked that question, right? And whatever that problem is that you're addressing, that's how you find your perfect funder, because you want to research that organization or that foundation to make sure that the problem that you're solving is the problem that they're interested in funding. How do you find out this information, right? Well, you could go to the funder's website, but guess what? Over 90% of foundations don't have a website. I'll say that again, over 90% of foundations do not have a website, right? So how do you find their information? Well, this is more tea for you. The 990. So the 990 form is the tax document that organizations have to submit to the IRS. And it is a gold mine, right, of getting information about a funder. You're going to get their executive leadership, but if you scroll to the back of the 990, you're going to get a list of other organizations where that foundation has donated to. And you look at that list and you try to find other organizations that are similar to yours, right? Because if you have an equestrian program, right, and you look and you see, okay, well, they funded other equestrian programs where you utilize horses, for example, to help heal veterans, and you see, okay, there are similar organizations on that 990. They might be a good fit. I'm going to apply to them, right? So don't sleep on the 990s. How do you get the 990? Well, here's that word again, free, free, free. You could pay for membership to a website where you get access to 990s, or you go to this free website, right? projects.republica.org/nonprofits. Irene, if you could, thank you so much. Irene, I'm sorry, Kelsey, got Kelsey today. Thanks so much, Kelsey, for dropping that link in. Free, free, free. So make sure you go to this website and literally they have all of the 990s that have been filed free of charge. Okay, so make sure afterwards you go to that website. Now, target population, who are you helping? And the question that I get way too often is, well, I help everybody. No, 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 no. You cannot help everybody. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You cannot help everybody. You have to focus and think about who would best be served by your organization, right? And it can't be everybody. Maybe it's based on demographics. Maybe your organization helps women. That's gender-based. Maybe it's ethnicity. Maybe you help African Americans. Maybe it's income-based. Maybe you're helping those who live below the poverty line. Maybe it's age-based, right? Maybe your product is helping senior citizens. Think about who would best be served, because you're going to have to talk about that target population. Or maybe you use geography. Maybe you just focus on a particular location like that restaurant, right? Or maybe it's nationwide. Whichever way it is, you can get great demographic information by going to the census. So census.gov/quick facts. Look, it is phenomenal. Don't sleep on the census, okay? And guess what? It is free. It is free. We're really talking about how do you tell your story, right? Because at the end of the day, you are selling your organization to this foundation or this funder from whom you're asking money. And what you don't want to do is make yourself the hero of that grant narrative, because you're not the hero. The person that you serve is the hero, right? Because the transformation occurs within them, not through your organization, but within your target population. Let's say you're helping the homeless, right? And you're providing shelter for the homeless. Well, somebody who finally is able to have shelter, maybe they can now get a job. Maybe they can now go back to school and get a GED. The transformation occurs in the market that you're helping, the target market that you're helping. And that's why you want to keep that person at the center of your grant narrative, right? You can talk about your organization, but at the center is where the transformation occurs. And that's what that funder and foundation is going to be interested in. All right. So are you telling your story the best? Those of you who have written grants in the past and you've received those little pesky rejection letters, which we hate to look at, did you tell your story the best, right? Did you talk about how you were changing lives, right? Did you appeal to emotions? Did you use real examples, testimonials, case studies? The best way of doing this is through video, absolutely. And it doesn't have to be expensive. Literally, you can have your customer pick up a phone. This is my Android. People know I'm an Android girl, but if you have that iPhone, you can use that as well. Literally have them put it in front of them. Talk 2 minutes about how those were the best cupcakes they have ever had in their entire life, or how you were able through your service to literally transform them. That video should be on the homepage of every single website, right? So if you have a website, you need to have video testimonials. And let me say this really quickly. Do not believe that you don't need a website. You need a website. I can assure you of that, because I've been working with foundations for a long time. And one of the first things they do is go to your website. Now, If you need a website, my web developer has been in business for 25 years. She's phenomenal. Drop your email in the chat if you need someone to help you create a website. It does not have to be expensive. It does not have to be convoluted or in any way like 15, 20 pages. No. You need to be able to highlight what you're doing and show those testimonials through a website. So if you need that information, let me know. But for all of you that currently have a website, you need to have video testimonials on that homepage. So you have a decision to make when it comes to how, right? How are you writing the grant application? That's what we're talking about now. How do you write it? Do you want operating or program project dollars, right? Operating dollars means you get money for wherever you want to apply the funds to in your organization, or maybe you have a particular project that you're working on. Let's take that restaurant. She wants to start having a delivery service. So she's asking money for expenses for the delivery service, right? What you need to know is that you can apply for operating dollars from one foundation and program project dollars from another foundation. Please don't believe that you only have to apply to one foundation for money. You should be applying, right, to more than one foundation for money. And guess what? You can apply to more than one foundation for the same project or program, right? So let's say she needs money for her delivery service. Well, she can apply to Foundation A for money for the delivery service, and she can apply to Foundation B for money for the delivery service. Because let's say she gets it, right? Let's say she gets both. She gets $20,000 from one and $20,000 from the other, right? What she's not going to do is give the money back. No. You don't do that. You expand on what you asked for. So let's say she needed $20,000 to hire employees, and that's what she got the money for, hiring employees. Well, guess what? Now maybe she can hire two, or maybe she can hire a full-time person instead of a part-time person, right? You all should be applying to multiple foundations for the same exact expense requests, right? Because we know grants are not guaranteed, right? And there's no guarantee that you're going to either get them, or if you get them in year one, that you're going to get them in year two. Consider where your greatest needs are as to where you want to apply for grant money. Next, this portion here, you're just describing your project or your service. How and why has it been successful? What, if you're a seasoned organization, what has been your track record? Like, use stats, use those numbers. If it's something new, you have to talk about why it will be successful. Let's take the tutoring company. Now, she is a principal, right? She's a former principal, and she wants to use project-based learning for tutoring the students in grades 9 through 12. Well, she has to prove that project-based learning is going to be successful for students in an urban environment at that age and grade level, right? So if it's something new that you're doing, you have to do the research, but whatever you do, talk about how it is going to solve or address a problem. Okay, that is critical. Now we're on to community partnerships. Now, many for-profits think, oh, I don't want a partnership. I don't want to have to share my money. No, partnerships does not have to mean an exchange of any type of financial compensation, right? You can use your third-party vendors as community partnerships when you're writing the grant application. This becomes really important for new nonprofits and new organizations to be partnered with a more seasoned organization. I'll give you an example. I was writing a grant years ago for a third grade class. The school wanted to teach them the violin, and we were going to work with the Cleveland Orchestra, like clearly one of the greatest orchestras in the world. And they were to come in after school and teach these third graders the violin. If you can imagine on a grant application, being able to say that you're partnering with the Cleveland Orchestra. So please really think about other organizations in your community that you can partner with. Universities, women's business organizations. It could certainly be a financial partner, or it could be a non-financial partner. Greek organizations, the Y, other women-owned businesses. Let's take that bakery. She's going to partner with an event planner in the community, right? And the event planner is going to be able to hand out and refer her services, hand out flyers about the bakery, refer her services to her clientele, and the bakery will have information about the event planner, right, in her store. So there's ways that you can partner with other organizations without there being an exchange of money, because this idea of working with others in the community to move your mission forward is so key now. It's on almost every grant application I've seen in the last 5 or 6 years. So really think about how you can work with other partnerships to help build up your organization. Now you have to really showcase on that application results. Like, how do you do that? You're going to do a little bit of forecasting, and I don't want you to be scared of this word forecasting, right? Because all you're doing is showing on the application what is going to happen if you get the money, right? So outputs, outcomes, and impacts. Some grant applications will only ask for one, some will ask for like all three. So I'm giving you all three so that you know. Outputs, those are the immediate results. You give me $20,000, I'm writing out what's going to happen. Well, outcomes, they occur as a result of outputs, right? But it's always in the future, right? Maybe 6 months to a year down the road, these are the outcomes that I'm going to have as a result of the outputs. Impact, a little bit further down the road, a year from now or 2 years from now, I'm going to have this impact because these outcomes happen, and the outcomes happen because the outputs happen. I'll give you an example. A daycare center wanted a $20,000 grant to open up, and they are writing on the application, you're writing this, right? That's what forecasting is. You're saying this is what's going to happen. They wrote in the application, if you give me the $20,000, we're going to be able to open up in this great location. We're going to serve 100 families and 250 children. But guess what? As a result of us opening in this great location and serving 100 families and 250 children, in 6 months, we're going to grow our daycare capacity by 40%. And we're going to add 24/7 services, right? So we're going to be open 24/7. And we foresee that a year to 2 years from now, will be our impact. 25% of our families that use us will experience less stress. Why? Because they can drop their kids off 24/7. I mean, wouldn't you experience less stress? 65% of children demonstrated improved behavior because we have a fantastic program, right? We anticipate this happening. And a year to 2 years from now, you give us this $20,000 now, we're going to expand to 2 locations. So you see how one builds upon the other. Next, SMART goals. You're going to be asked for SMART goals, not just goals, SMART goals. So what are they? Some of you may know what SMART goals are. They're specific, they're measurable, they're attainable, they're relevant, they're timely. Yes, Jania says funders love to see collaborations. I cannot stress that enough. Absolutely. You need to find a partnership, right? So SMART goals, you're going to have to put SMART goals in your application, right? This is the goal. This is one big goal that you might have. I want to reduce the poverty rate in Cleveland. Well, that's way, way, way too big. No. How do you change it to a SMART goal? Because you need to be specific. Well, a SMART goal is I want to reduce the poverty rate by 5% in Cleveland for Hispanic children under the age of 5 within a 5-year time frame, right? So that's the SMART goal. What did I do there? How did I change the goal to a SMART goal? I input data and statistics, and that's what you'll need to do, right? Another area is assessment tools. So the application will ask you, how are you going to measure your results and that you're working and that we gave you this money and the results are happening? I happen to love surveys. I use SurveyMonkey, JotForm. There are so many you can use to just get data on whether or not it's working. So the daycare center will do a survey of the parents, right? The restaurant will do a survey of our customers, right? The tutoring organization with the principal, well, she can use the reading and math, right, test results to determine whether or not her tutoring program is being helpful, right? So think about ways in which you have at your access how to measure, right? How to measure whether or not your service or your product is working, right? The assessments are so important. Now, this part here, staff, what is your staff? Who's leading the program or the project or the service? Maybe it's you. Maybe it's not you. If it is you, especially for you for-profits, you probably haven't updated your resume or your bio in years. Well, this is more homework. You're going to have to, because yes, you're going to need to submit a bio and a resume for many of these grant applications. But why are you including this information? Because funders want to know, who are you putting in charge of your program or your organization or your service, right? And are they qualified? Because at the end of the day, this is all about accountability. And they want to make sure that you're putting people who are qualified to lead these projects or these programs. Next, we talk about the budget. What do you need to know? You have to itemize your expenses. Absolutely. So if you need $50,000 for an executive director, you can't just say, I need $50,000 for an ED. You have to showcase on the budget. What is it for? Is it for 6 months payment? Is it for a year payment? Is this a W-2 worker? In that case, you're going to need to allow for benefits. Or is it a 1099 independent contractor, right? You need to be specific. And where are you going to put those specific items? The budget narrative. So you may put the dollar amount in the budget, but you talk about in that budget narrative how you are using the money, right? If it's for program personnel, you're going to say, these are 1099 contract workers. We're paying them a certain amount per hour, per week, right? Be specific. But at the end of the day, you have to connect these numbers back to the goal of the program. This is how you will set yourself apart from other applications. You are connecting in that budget narrative how you're using the money to accomplish the goal of the program or the service. Now, sustainability. This is a fun part, right? You know that grants are not guaranteed. If you get $20,000 in year one, you are not guaranteed to get $20,000 in year two. So you have to talk about in that application your plans, right, for sustaining your company or your program in year two, when you know the grant is not guaranteed. And yes, you have to address this on the grant application, because what did I say at the very beginning of the webinar? I said, if a foundation is giving you $20,000 and they know it's not guaranteed, they don't want to be the only ones giving you money, because they don't want to feel like, oh my gosh, if I don't give this money to year two, you're going to go out of business. That's why you have to write in the application, what are you going to do? Have a little quick activity. Think about that high school, grades 9 through 12, right? They got the $20,000 for the tutoring for year one. But in year two, they have to write in the application how they are going to come up with enough money to sustain the program if they don't get the grant money in year two. So I want you to put into the chat, think about ways in which a high school could say, okay, in year two, this is what we're going to do to come up with the $20,000. So think about this and put it into the chat. We're talking about a high school, grades 9 through 12. What do you think they could put on this grant application to say, okay, this is how we're going to get money, right, to sustain our program in year two? So put into the chat. Really think about this. This is a high school, right? What could they talk about? What could they put into the application as to how they can come up with $20,000 in year two to sustain the program? Because this is about writing an alternative fund development method into the application. And this is what you have to do, right? If you get this sustainability question, right? So yes, absolutely. Fundraisers, right? Fundraisers, right? They could write into the application, look, we're going to have a talent show. We're going to have a musical. We're going to sell merchandise, right? We're going to have a bake sale, right? These are things that we're going to do to make sure that we come up with enough money to sustain the program. Right, concerts, absolutely. Concerts, high school swag products, that would be perfect, right? Maybe they can sell t-shirts or sweatshirts or hoodies or, cups or whatever, right? But I'm giving you this exercise because you have to think about ways in which you're going to talk about how you will sustain the program. As I take a sip, in year two, when you don't, maybe when you don't get the money. So really quickly, for those of you who are interested in different bid contracts and proposals, the one thing I want you to keep in mind, if you're bidding on a contract, and usually that could be like a state or county or federal, don't underbid. Too many people think if I have the lowest bid, I'm going to get the contract. That is not true. Because if I'm hiring someone to build a fence, as a contractor, I have an idea how much it's going to cost. So I know it's going to cost about $1 million. And I put out a bid proposal and I get bids for $50,000. I know that you don't have the capacity. I know that you don't have the staff. So when you are completing those bid proposals, don't always focus on the money. Focus on your capacity, your experience, right? Maybe you have people who've built 20 fences, right? Maybe you have the qualifications that you have, for example, you've always come under the deadline, like you've never missed a deadline. Talk about ways that will take you above and beyond your competition without always focusing on the money. And capability statements, you might be asked for this. This is simply you talking about, again, your core competencies and your capabilities, right? What are your differentiators? Maybe you have a facility that's state of the art, right? You always focus on your uniqueness when you are completing proposals for bids, or maybe you're completing your capability statement. Now, some of you, you're going to be applying for grants, but maybe you already have a business plan, or maybe you have grant proposals and then you need a business plan. They're very similar. The only thing that's really different right here is the marketing plan, because on a business plan, right, you will need to create a marketing plan, but a lot of the information on one document you can typically get from the other document. Just keep in mind that you will absolutely, always need to answer those questions that are germane to that grant application, because that is key. That is important. All right. This is really about getting noticed, right? These are things that you have to do before you write a single syllable. And I just want to tell you, so much of this is about having a mindset of winning, because if you go into grant writing thinking, oh my gosh, it's just too hard, I'm not going to get it, you probably won't. What you need to know is that grant writing now, is not like it was like 5 years ago. You don't have to complete like a 200-page dissertation for a grant, literally. Like, what was it? Maybe 2 weeks ago, there was one grant application for $25,000 for for-profits. They wanted a 500-word essay. Like, that was it. Like, most of the for-profit grants that I've seen are like 2-3 pages. Literally, that's it. So get that fear out of your system that you're going to be sitting down working on some grant proposal for weeks and weeks and weeks. And if you are going after the large grants, the $1 million government grants, they're not long either. Like, 2 grants that I saw this year, they were each worth over $1 million. They were 7 single-space pages. 7 single-space pages, right? They were over $1 million. So please don't think that you're going to be sitting down and it's just going to be the worst thing in the world because you have to write. You're writing about something that you're passionate about. You're writing about something that you love, right? So it's not hard because you're literally writing what you live every day. So don't think this is beyond your capabilities of what you need to do. It's not, because you know the results are worth it. Yes, you're going to put forth a little time and effort and do some research, but guess what? If you get a free grant, you can finally open up your business, right? Expand, maybe pay your bills without bootstrapping, like asking family members, right, for money. No. Now, these are do's and don'ts. And if you take nothing else away from this webinar, relationship building, please meet with the funder first. Meet with that funder, okay? I've been in a meeting where I've heard foundation leaders say, if I get all these applications and nobody has called me or emailed me or tried to contact me, it's probably going in the garbage. Now, not all foundations do that. No, some foundations don't want you to contact them. They're like, okay, fill out the application and mail it in, and that's it. But if you have the ability to meet with that funder, you meet with that funder. Literally last month, I was working with one client, set up a meeting. The client didn't know, the foundation didn't know my client at all. Had never even heard of them, right? But those missions align. So they took that meeting, right? And after 30 minutes, the client got $30,000. Literally after a 30-minute meeting, $30,000. It happened literally in January. And he was able to get, initially, they set $5,000 like right at the meeting, but they literally told him that he would get $30,000 over the next 3 years. This is from a meeting where they didn't even know the organization. But if that mission align and you get in that meeting, You're going to learn information about the grant, trust me, that you are not going to find on their website. They're going to learn information about you that they can never get from a website, right? And this has been happening. If they like you and they want you to get the grant, they will literally guide you into what you need to put in the grant application to make sure you get the funding, right? So please meet with the funder first. Consider time management. You know this is deadline driven because, ladies, if the deadline is 4:59 and you send it in at 5 o'clock, you're going to have a bad day. You're going to have a bad day, okay? Because please, 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 please adhere to the timelines. Answer every single question. And if you don't know the answer, if it doesn't pertain to you, don't leave it blank unless they ask you to. Because if you submit, especially application on a portal online, and you have blank answers, they may reject that application because they think it's incomplete. Just put NA. Just put NA if it doesn't apply to you. Don't leave it blank. Definitely ask somebody else to review that application, because what you're not going to do is submit it and it's full of errors. Don't use cookie cutter answers. These are don'ts. I love templates, but please don't think that you're going to copy and paste from one application to 20 other applications. I literally ran into this question a couple of weeks ago, and the lady thought that she could just copy from one and just fill in all 20. No. Don't ask for too much when you're approaching a funder for the first time. This is important, okay? Because most grants will tell you how much money, right? It's a $5,000 grant, it's a $20,000 grant, but community foundations in particular don't necessarily have an amount. So when you go in, don't ask for $100,000 because you're not going to get it. They don't know you. They don't know if you're a good fiscal steward of money. I always recommend between $5,000 and $25,000 for the first time, okay, if you don't know the amount. And then you don't want to forget to edit, please. Now, I talked about the importance of the funder and meeting with the funder. How do you meet with the funder? You create this letter of introduction, right? In that letter, you describe your organization, your need, right? Your project, how it aligns to the mission. You're not asking for money in this letter because this letter is to get a meeting with the funder. That's where you ask for money, in the meeting, not in this letter. Now, you can get a reference to get a name, right? But how do you get the email address? Because 90% of foundations don't have a website, and you're not sending this letter to info@abcfoundation.org. You're not sending it to any info. You need the email address of the person that you found. How do you get the email? I've been giving you tea. This is the teapot. I'm telling you, this website, getemail.io, is like the best thing since sliced bread when it comes to grant writing, because it will give you the email address of just about anybody in any organization around the world. I use it all the time. I've gotten emails from Italy, Germany, you name it. All right. Now, the great thing is it's free for like maybe the first 10 or 15 emails. And you can try it out. It's free for 10 or 15 emails. And then it's a monthly subscription of maybe, I think it's like maybe $60 a month. But use your 10 to 15 emails wisely. Okay. Wisely, because you need the email address of who you are sending that application to. Now, grant research. How do you find the grants? These are your predominant grant research portals. The Foundation Directory Online is the leading source of information in the U.S. It's about $50 a month. However, most libraries will have this available to you for free. There's that word again, free. So if you don't have $50 a month to do your research, go to your local library, and they typically have this available free. Grants.gov, that's the single source of federal grants. Now, instrumental.com, they're pricey. They're about $200 a month. They give you the $9.90 and the organization and the open grant. Now, the Foundation Directory Online, they're only going to give you the organization's name. They're not going to give you any open grants, just the organization's name. Instrumental will give you both. Grants.gov, of course, they're giving you the source of the federal grant. Lilly Foundation, for you faith-based organizations, is the largest funder of religious organizations in the country. You've got an educational fund or educational program. GrantGopher.com is good. I love GrantWatch. I love GrantWatch because they're only about $20 a week. And they have a lot of great last-minute grants. And they give you not only the funder, but they give you the available grant opening. Okay. Grantstation.com is another that I did include. Grantstation.com is another. If you're a minority organization, urbanawarenessusa.org, they're Black owned and they always have quite a bit of information for minority organizations. This is just the front of Grant Watch to show you how you get these grants. Okay. There's criteria, there's filters. So you put in your type of organization. Are you business? Are you a nonprofit? Or are you individual? Right? What type of grant do you want? You want a foundation grant or federal grant? Your target population. Who are you helping? You have to be helping preferably a specific population, right? So think about this. Veterans, homeless, K through 12, the disabled, maybe it's women based, right? What is your subject? What are you doing, right? So that career services company, that's business and industry. The tutoring company, that's education. You put all this information in here. You decide if you want a local funder. Maybe you just want to get local grant money, or does it not matter? You want local and national. You decide as well. I always ask people to start local if you can. I'm not saying don't apply to national openings and national grant applications, right? I'm just saying it's going to be easier for you to get local grant money. And once you start getting local grant money, it'll be a little bit easier for you to get the national grant funding, right? So start local if you can. Now, I told you I have some grant openings for you. So this is strictly for small business grants, right? You have to know HelloAlice.com. It is the largest portal right now of grants for women-owned small businesses. So HelloAlice.com, and it's free. Facebook has a Black Creators Grant. Amber Grants for Women, absolutely, is $10,000 a month. And then on top of that, they give a $25,000 grant. National Association of Self-Employed, they have grants. There's 2 credit card companies that have grants for women of color, MasterCard and Visa. FedEx has a small business grant. If you have any type of nonprofit or small business that's in the health and wellness field, Women's Sports Foundation is great. Make sure you go to Grants for Women. They have grants that are for women-led nonprofits, women-owned small businesses. Make sure you go there. Maybe you don't want grant money, right? Maybe you want an investor. Okay, 37angels.org, they provide funding in the form of investing specifically to women-owned businesses for up to $150,000. Okay, that is a lot of money, right? Tory Burch Foundation, I Fund Women, Cartier has a grant for women. So these are some of the opportunities that you have. Do your research, go on here and see what's available. Now, really quickly, I want you to put into the chat, what do you think about when you think about banks and money, banks and money, because we're headed to the end now. Banks and money, don't go anywhere. Banks and money. Put into the chat, banks and money. Yes, most people think about loans, right? Loans. But did you know that banks are some of the largest providers of grant money, free grant money? You've been asking the wrong person, right? Because if you go to the branch manager, they're probably going to try to get you to get a loan. You need to find out who is the vice president of that bank, typically like community investment VP or VP of, it could just be community relations. Find out who that VP is and ask for grant funding, right? Young lady was on my webinar last year, actually at the end of last year, and she's like, okay, I'm going to do this. So she did a research, look for a bank that has a great footprint in your area. She found one. She applied for a $2.3 million grant, okay? Please don't sleep on banks. Don't think they just provide loans. You've got to get to the right person, that vice president. So these are women's business organizations that you need to be a part of just to network, everything from Grants for Women and my Women Helping Women Entrepreneurs. So if you're on there, if you're on the webinar, give yourself a shout out, because that group has right now is over 650,000 women entrepreneurs. 650,000 women entrepreneurs. So please, please, please join that Facebook group. They are incredible. All right. National Association of Women Business Owners. I belong to the Cleveland chapter. So there's all kinds of organizations that you can provide. Ladies Who Launch, I think they have a grant that's open right now that's due at the end of this month. Ladies Who Launch, they have a grant open right now that's due at the end of this month. So these are organizations that you can join so that you can learn more about available funding. Now, this is the bonus here. Don't go anywhere because we're going to do the Q&A in just a second. I mentioned before, I've been writing grants for almost really 15 years now since I started. And I knew that I could only help so many people, right? Writing one grant at a time. So what did I do? I literally created a simple, easy to use grant writing course that includes my coaching, because I know that there's so much money out here. You need to be getting that money, but I want to show you how, because I hear so many scam stories about people being taken, about women being taken for money, people saying, oh, if you give me $50, I'm going to write 3 grants for you, just craziness. This can be done. There is a proven path to it. And I created this course to help you get to this money, because I want you to be able to win $20, $30, $50,000. It will save time. It will literally cut your writing time in half. Okay, it will cut your research time in half. And I'm here as your coach, right? I always get the question, is there a grant for fill in the blank? You will never have to ask that again, right? Because you will know, because you'll have the right way of searching. And I told you before, don't be scared. Grant applications are not 100 pages anymore. Literally, they're like 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. And I give you the best grant research techniques, right? Because I want you to find funders who want to give you money as women-owned businesses, right? And they are available. They're out there. And I show you, yes, how to approach the funders. I can tell you, honestly, in the 15 years I've been in business, I have never seen the amount of grant money available to you as a woman-owned business or as a woman-led nonprofit because of what? COVID-19 and the George Floyd incident. Of course, I teach you how to write every part of the narrative. And guess what? Of course, I give you real grant examples, because every grant example in this course I wrote and it won money. Okay. What do you get? 12 modules, 35 lessons. And because I know people learn differently, right? I start every lesson with a video. And too many of these courses just have videos. No, I start with the video and I give you a lesson. I give you a task, right? I give you planners because I want you to be successful, right? And I give you these fun quizzes and I give you a workbook so that you have what you need, right? And in addition, I do what nobody else is doing. I literally give you a list to get started. I give you 400 grant opportunities. 400 funders, right, is on this list in every category, from entrepreneurialism to veterans to education. And I don't leave you. I know too many people who offer different courses. They offer you the course and they're gone, or people spend $3,000 on a weekend course and after the weekend, the teacher's gone. I'm here with you. I serve as your coach. Private Facebook group. You come in there and that group is phenomenal. Oh my gosh, it's phenomenal. Literally, people will come into the group and they'll say, can you just maybe look over this piece of my application for me? They'll be asking another student. And they'll do it. They'll say, yes, sure, absolutely. And you get 1 hour of group coaching, because I don't want you to be stuck. I want you to get money, right? The money is available, ladies. I want you to get money. I don't want this to be just something else that you're paying money for. The money is out there and I want to see you with it. What is it worth? I've had the course audited 3 times. It's just the modules are worth $3,549. The introductory videos are worth $599. That list of 400 funders, if you ask me to create it for you, it would be at least $500 and up, upwards of $1,000, depending upon what's included. And of course, you get workbooks and planners and grant trackers. The tracking is important because if you're going to apply for a grant, you need to know where you are in that grant process, right? You need to be organized. How much are we talking about? Literally, okay? The course retails for $4,997. The regular price is $497. What is it? What is this month? It's Women's History Month, ladies. The course is $497, but you decided to spend this hour with me. So guess what? I reduced the price. The price is $247. That's one payment, but this is important, okay? And I really want to talk about this. It's one payment. So I find that a lot of people literally think that they're making a monthly payment of $247, right? It is not, right? It is not a monthly payment of $247. It is one payment. So literally, it's one and done. I really get that question all the time. But I'm doing something really special for Women's History Month. And what I'm doing is, because it's Women's History Month, I'm literally giving you the opportunity to make two different payments, right? So you can make the two different payments. It's $137.50. And you can just pay it over the course of the 2 months, right? And so literally that's what you get. Either the one payment, but you have to use the coupon. Now, if you want the monthly payment, two payments, you don't even need a coupon at all. You don't need the coupon, but you have to use the code. And yes, it's 50% off. It's just for 3 days because the course is $497, and that's what people pay. But yes, you get one payment, $247. That's it, and you get immediate access to. And I get this question a lot. Jeannie says the Facebook group. Yes, isn't the Facebook group like? I'm telling you, it is phenomenal. Okay. The course never expires. Ladies, I'm going to say that again. Look, we're small business owners. We have things to do every single day. Okay. Every day is different. We can say we're going to get to the course next week. And you know what? Life happens and you don't get to the course. This is why the course never expires. Okay. So you have it forever. Yes, you get all of these 12 modules. At the end, you're ready. You're literally ready to complete your first grant. And guess what I have here? And it's not 400 because I just added 50 new funders. It's 450 grants, right? Grant funders. So this is everything you get. But we didn't even talk about the letter of inquiry, right? We didn't even talk about that. But that private Facebook group that you're in, oh my gosh, it is phenomenal. And I serve as the coach. So once a month, you come into the group, you ask me whatever you need, right? Because I'm here to help you. I'm here to help you move forward. And the course is self-paced. I don't drip like some instructors drip their course like a little bit at a time. No. Even if you make the 2-month payment of $137.50, you get everything right away. You get everything right away. But yes, it does end Friday because the course I'm charging $297 for this month. But yes, you get the $250 off, but it does end Friday. All right. So just so you know, when you go into the portal, this is what you're going to see. That little drop down, little arrow there, you hit that and it will drop down to the $137.50. So if you want to pay the $137.50 for only 2 months, you can. Or you hit $497 and you hit purchase, and then you put in the code, which looks like this. So have a code, answer that question, put in the code. It will take $250 off, which is like this crazy price now, right? Now, many of you want to meet with me one-on-one, and you can do that. It's normally $495 an hour. But if you buy the Ask the Expert along with the course, it's only $195. So again, this is Women's History Month. So something else I wanted to tell you that's really important. Why is this important to do this right now? Right now? Because, and please hear me out, we're in the first quarter of the year. There are some funders like Walmart and Verizon. They'll tell you when our money is gone, it's gone. Like you start January 1st and we're constantly giving funding, right? So if you wait until June or July or August or September, the money's not there. So what I want you to do, ladies, please, please, please start the process of getting this money now, right? Because it's available. What I can't tell you about the George Floyd money and the COVID-19 money, I can't tell you there's going to be there in September or October. Like I don't know. What I can tell you is that it's available right now. So what I don't want you to do is be in the same position a month from now thinking, how did they get a grant? Like you're looking at these other people like, how did she get a grant? Like, how did they get grant money? You have like no excuses anymore because I'm here to help you. Oh, and the 247 is tax deductible. It's so literally it's tax deductible. So I want you to use other people's money. I want you to use other people's money to get help to sustain or grow or open your organization. So I'm getting ready to do the Q&A. Oh, these are just some testimonials. So Kelly, a couple months ago, got a $75,000 grant. She was writing the grant for her colleague, and she got $75,000, and then she got grant money for herself. Pastor Chris, which she's not on here, she used the techniques to get grant money for her program, and then Farah used the techniques. Literally last month, she wrote 5 approved grants for her mom's church. So for you faith-based people, yes, the money is available. So Kim is saying the program is amazing. Carla says it's easy to understand, and it is. Kelly's the one that is just, I mean, she's doing amazing. And then Linda wanted to be a grant writer. So she took the course, and now she's literally writing grants. So we see it works. Like people are getting money. Last month, literally, I know the one person got the $30,000. Someone else was able to get a grant for $35,000. So it's constant, it's ongoing because the money is available. And we just, if you come into the Facebook group, you'll see the testimonials of people literally getting this money. So you saw how much is out there. It's time for you to get your share of this money, right? Because we know it's available. So I'm going to the Q&A, but the first thing I want you to do, I want you to put into the chat, right? I'm ready to get grant money. Because sometimes you have to speak things into the universe. I'm telling you, I'm ready to get grant money. That's what I want you to do. I'm ready to get grant money. I want to see it in the chat. All right. All right. I want to get grant money. I want to see it into the chat. So Marira says, is this for international grants or USA? Great question. So that slide that I gave you of I use Grant Watch. Whether it's Grant Watch or Foundation Directory Online or Grant Station, you literally put in the country where you're seeking funding, the country where you're located, and the grants will be pulled up. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, okay? These search engines will give you the grants that are available in your part of the country. And someone from Canada was asking me whether or not it includes Canadian grant. Oh, absolutely. And grants in every part of the world that has grant money available from organizations. So yes. This is what I'm talking about. Moira, right, is ready to get grant money. Janelle, Adrian, is it Liera, Mika, Jania, Beverly, Latanya, Jennifer, LV, Chantel, beautiful, Cynthia, Ashley, Deborah, Jack, Michelle, is it Ellie? Yes. Dorothy, Mika, yes. So it's time, like, get off the sidelines. Everybody knows I'm a big football fan. Get off the side. I want to see you. Oh, and you might have missed it on the slide, but the next coaching session is March 27th, which is a Monday. So Monday, March 27th is the next grant writing session. That's it. I'm ready to get grant money. Joyce says, I'm super ready. Because why look and see how other people are getting money and it's like you still need grant money? It's available. Learn how to get it. I would be honored to serve as your coach. And that's like nothing extra. Now, if you want one-on-one sessions with me, personal one-on-one, we can do that as well, right? You were able to get a discount off of the first hour, which is $195. That's normally $495. You can do that. Yes. So what I want you to do next, I'm going to go to the Q&A. I'm putting in 2 email addresses because I want you to get the replay to this because to me, some people actually charge for replays. It's like, no, I'm going to give you this replay. Why would I charge for the replay? Hello at grantwriting for nonwriters.com. I want you to put these 2 emails in your Safe Senders email list because you're going to get the replay and I want you to get the replay, right? Mika, I want you to send me an email to one of those two emails. Oshira, is it state specific? Is what state specific? Grants? Are you asking for grants or the course? So the course, so how you, the courses, people have, people take the course all over the world. I have students all over the world who take the course. If you're asking for how you research grants, it can be. It can not only be state specific, it can be city specific. So you can literally research for grants that are available in your city. You can be that specific. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, Mika. Okay, Mika, send to the LPV. Send to the LPV. All right, send to this email address. All right, and I'll look for your email because it might have gone to spam. I'm thinking your email might have gone to spam. So I'll look. Send me an email and I'll look. So I'm going to the Q&A. You will get a copy of today's presentation. You won't get the slides, but you'll get a full replay, so you'll have everything. Where do you go for external reviews for grants? That's such a good question. So do you have someone who is a teacher, who maybe was an English major, maybe a business person that you know? But teachers are great. Like, teachers are great for reviewing. And if you buy the course and you come into the Facebook group, you can ask people to review your grant for you. And typically somebody will say, yes, I'll review it. We do grant reviews, but we charge, like my company charges for grant reviews, and it starts at $1,000 and it goes up. But you can get someone to do a review for you by asking someone, again, that you know, maybe a teacher, or if you buy the course, come into the group and put like piece by piece in there and ask people if they would review it. Absolutely. So Laria says, are there grants available to help startups? That's another great question. There are grants that are specifically for startups, right? And so if you buy the course, there are on that list of 450 funders. Some of those are for entrepreneurs and some of those are for startup grants. So absolutely there are, absolutely. And also, if you buy the course and you come into the Facebook group, ask that question, because there's two I know of right now. I'd have to get their websites that are just for startups, that are literally just for startups. So absolutely there are. Would you suggest partnering with a smaller organization if you are smaller, or trying to partner with a larger one? Well, my first recommendation would be to partner with a larger one. But if you can partner with a smaller one, that's fine. You're in Akron, and both my business, writing and editing, as well as community. I would do both. I would do both. And something else that all of you can do, by the way, you can, and I'm talking about partnerships right now. Did you know that you could request to be a contractor on a larger grant application? So let's say, who asked that question? Is it Shinia? Shinia, let's say you know someone who is applying for a major grant, but that grant component requires some writing, right? You could literally ask that person to list you as a contractor on that grant application as a subcontractor, so that if they get the money for the grant, they pay you for your grant writing services. So you don't always have to apply to be the main receiver of a grant. You can apply to be a subcontractor on a larger grant. A question from Michelle. If you hire a person to generate a grant for you, is a normal process to only provide a copy of the grant once it has been approved or denied? I paid someone and they stated that they were going to provide a copy once written, but I have not. So Michelle, this is such my pet peeve. I tell you, this just gets my blood boiling. I'm telling you, because I hear so many horror stories about people getting scammed. So there is a way in which you work with a grant writer. There's information you need to know. And that's another reason why this course is so great, because it will let you know the questions that the grant writer should be asking you. So when you hire a person to write a grant for you, you absolutely should always not only get a copy of the grant once it's been written, but you should get a copy of the grant as the grant writer is writing the grant, right? If there are questions that that grant writer may ask you, right? They should be willing to ask you questions and make sure that they have all of the pertinent information on the grant application. Okay. So absolutely you should have received a copy of it, and you should have received what happened, right? You should have received where it was being applied to. You should have received the email address where it was being emailed, or the portal where it was being uploaded to, right? That's your right to have that information. Now, speaking about working with grant writers, just so all of you know, so that you don't walk away without having this information, right? I'm a professional grant writer. I belong to the Grant Professional Association and others. We are professional grant writers. We go and abide by an ethical code. So we do not take commission. We do not take commission for grants. We are not paid if you get the grant, because grants are not guaranteed. We are skilled professional writers, right? We are paid a certain amount of money, and all of the professional grant writers that I know, we get paid a portion of the money once we start writing the grant, and we get paid the final amount as we submit the grant, right? So we get half when we start writing, and the other half once we submit the grant. We do not take a commission because that's unethical, and in some states it's actually illegal. Why? Because you cannot submit, so you cannot provide money to a grant writer to help fund a grant, because grant money is for your program or your project, and you can't spend grant money before you get the grant, right? You can't spend grant money on services that has happened before you get the grant money. So no way at all do we adhere to that, but absolutely you should be getting a copy of the grant. Yes, yes, yes. But I love that question about the partnering. It should be to both, but preferably a large one. And Shaina, I'm going to highly recommend that you talk to the Urban League, because the Urban League in Akron, Ohio is a phenomenal urban league, and they will have resources for you. I give grant writing workshops for the Urban League in Cleveland anyway. So other questions, and then we're going to wrap it up. Okay, will the course help me help my clients? I'm a personal and business credit specialist, and the scams my clients have experienced. I brought two of the grant writing courses, and they were too complicated to complete. I feel led to do. Okay, so this grant writing course, this is why I remain present. Okay, now you just, in the presentation, you heard people say how easy the course is to follow. I wrote it so that it could be easy to follow. Literally, you're just answering questions and writing. That's what you're doing. And then I give you examples. So if I say, Adrian, I need for you to write your history, I give you the example of the history that I've written in a grant application so that you see how it should look. And then you write it. And if you have any questions whatsoever, any questions, there is literally a discussion starter within the course where you ask a question and I answer the question. You come into the Facebook group with questions. I'm in there all the time. You come to the group session. I run my own group sessions, right? I don't give you to someone else. I run my group sessions. So you have a certain level of access to me, right? So that you don't get lost. I don't want anybody buying this course that's not going to use it, right? That's not going to use it to get money, because I'm here to get you money, to help get you money. Like, I'm a woman of faith. Everybody knows that. I consider myself to be a servant leader. I'm here to help you, right? That's why I give these free workshops. I give free workshops to the Urban League and to other organizations, right? And I'm charging you $247 for a $5,000 grant writing course. Okay, because I want to help you, right? You started because you had a mission or a dream or an idea, right? And you deserve being helped. You deserve to get help. And oh my gosh, don't get me started with the grant writer scams. I hear scams almost every day. People taking people's money, people saying, give me $50 and I'll write 3 grants for you. Somebody tells you that, you run in the other direction. You run in the other direction. All right, so that's my soapbox. I won't deal with that anymore. It drives me crazy. All right, so Kelsey, if you could drop the information, people are asking for the link. So if you could drop the information to buy the course. Oh, if you buy the course, you do start right away. There's like no waiting period. Like I told you, I don't drip my course. It's all there. Even if you take the 2 payments of $137.50, you get the whole course. You get everything right away, right away. Yes, Harut, there's a grant for media nonprofits. Deborah, there's a grant for funeral homes. Yes, this is about doing research and finding the information. But it will always help if you have a community component. You want to know a secret to really helping you get the money? Always have some type of community component. Even if it's like you're a funeral home, you could have a podcast that talks about what people need to do to prepare for funerals, right? Maybe you need to have your funeral all written out. Maybe that's like a little freebie podcast you could have to tell people the credit lady, right? Maybe you could provide an email that people could sign up to, just giving them some tips on credit. Anytime that you can provide something of service to the community, it is always going to increase your chances of getting grant funding, even as a for-profit. Always, always, always. All right, Mika, send the email. Thank you, Jennifer. Yes, you will get a replay of everything. Do you have a website for contracts? So, Sharon, the website that you go to for contracts is typically through your city or your county or your state. So for Ohio, it's under the Ohio Business Development site, I believe. Ohio Job Business Development. I think they post contracts for Ohio. Look for a similar state-run website in your state, because you need to be on the mailing list. Like I'm on the mailing list, so I know when bids come out for Ohio, for the state. Get on that mailing list for your county and your city and your state. And that way, every time a contract is released, you will get an email telling you about it, right? Oh, yes. So, Genia, yes, you use Grant Watch and Grant Station and Urban Awareness. Excellent. Aren't they fantastic? Fundraiser or parent. Yes, that was. Oh, Evelyn says she's 73. I just opened a Bible bookstore in memory of my late daughter. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So this would be great for you, because that reminded me of something. There are grants for storefronts. Let me put this into the chat. The Main Street grant, I don't know when it's going to open again, but it'll open sometime in 2023. It's called the Main Street Grant. It is just for storefronts. So any of you that have brick and mortar stores, make sure you get information about the Main Street Grant, because that will be reopening in 2023. And there are so many grants. Please, helloalice.com. Please join them. Yes, definitely international grants. Absolutely. You have to do the research. Please do the research, and you put in your location. It's as simple as that. It's really not. It's none of this is complicated. I write some grants rarely, because we spend most of our time with the course. It depends. It just depends. So I'll read your email, Mika. But I also have partners. Like I have very well experienced partners who write grants that I can send you to as well. They're professional grant writers. So there's a way in which you work with professional grant writers. Nonprofit media, Heroot, there is a grant out um, that is just for nonprofit media organizations. That's by, I think it's the Center for Public Broadcasting. I think that's the name of the grant funder, and it's a federal grant, but it's being filtered through the state. So there's absolutely money for nonprofit medias for sure. Absolutely, absolutely. I don't have a Facebook, but I do have professors. You don't have a Facebook account? Is that what you're saying? Then make sure you come to the group coaching sessions. They're once a month. The next one is Monday, March 27th. Is there grants to help a church get a home? There are grants for church plants. Yes. So, Genia, if you join, just come into the Facebook group and ask that question because there's a couple of grants that I have for that I know would work for you. Look, no grants are guaranteed. If anybody tells you that they have there's some guaranteed grant money, run the other way. Run the other way. I see so much of this on Facebook, it drives me insane. There is no such thing as guaranteed grant money, but there are ways in which you can help the odds of you getting the grant. And that's what this presentation has been about. And that's what the course is about, because you'll know what you're doing. Like you'll know and for those of you who bought the $1 Million Grant Roadmap, that 8-page, 10-step, it's a framework. Please use that framework. Whether you get this course or not, use that framework. If you get the course, always come back to where you are in one of those 10 steps. You should always be in one of those 10 steps. Okay. And it's like $5. And it's called the $1 Million Grant Roadmap. It's $5. Always, 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 whether you get the course or not, come back to that roadmap. It will keep you on the journey to getting grant money so that wherever you are, whether you're writing grants or meeting with partners, you should be somewhere on that roadmap. Okay, you should be somewhere on that roadmap. So I'm going to drop the link in here. It's like $5. I try to keep everything that I provide low cost, low cost. This grant roadmap is like $5. So if you want to get it, you can get it. It's great if you have like basically no money and you want help. You have this website, right? I'm sorry, you have the webinar, and then the $1 Million Grant Roadmap is $5. And those of you who wanted help with your website, make sure you put your email in the chat because I'm going to give that to my web developer. She's extremely affordable, has been not only designing but developing websites for 25 years. So she'll be of help. I want to thank everybody because I don't see any other questions. Oh, please post the link to purchase again. I'm going to put this in here so people will have it readily available. All right, so this is she just posted it. So that's the link to buy, okay? And hopefully I will see everybody in the Facebook group. You'll get 3 emails. People who are buying, you'll get 3 emails. One is a welcome. One is to set up your account. And when you set up the account, you have full access to everything. And then the other email will give you a link to the Facebook group, right? So grants for artists, absolutely. There's some grants in New York for artists. Depends on what kind of artists you're talking about, though. There's grants for fashion designers. So yes, that's what this course, like when you buy the course, you won't have to ask that again because literally you'll do your research and you'll see, oh my gosh, there's a grant for artists. So Latanya, if you're interested, drop me your email and I will send your email to my grant, to my website designer. All right. So thank you, everybody. I think those are all of the questions. Let me make sure. Ellie, I will be conducting it tonight at 7 p.m. I have another live one tonight at 7 p.m. Okay. So if you know anyone who's interested in the live one tonight at 7, I'm going to put the link in the chat. And that's tonight at 7 p.m. I have another live one, and it's for women, right? If you know any African American Black organizations, I do one that's on Thursday for minority organizations because there are some grants that are set aside for Black organizations. Grant writing for, and here we go. All right. So there's 2 on Thursday for Black organizations, and there's 1 tonight at 7 p.m. All right. So I think that is it. I think that is it. Oh, I hope I answered your question, Adrian. I hope I answered your question. Oh, no. I got one. Here's one from Genia. Jenny is asking, can you explain restricted versus unrestricted grants? Yes. That might be important to know for people. I typically do unrestricted because I don't want to have to go through a lot of red tape and reporting. So typically you hear the word restricted versus unrestricted when it comes to grants that you apply for, like at a foundation. So foundations get a lot of their money from donor advisors, right? So when a donor advisor gives money to a foundation to then give out in the form of grants, those are usually restricted versus not unrestricted. So restricted grant means the money can only be used for a particular either area of interest or particular programming. Let's say there's restriction on it, so that is only for K through 12 education. Is only to be used for veterans, or is only to be used for the homeless. So those are what's called restricted grants because they have restrictions on them. They can only be used for so much money. They're also called, like if you are doing your research, those are the program project grants, right? Because they're geared for a particular program or project that is aligned to the interests of the funder. Versus unrestricted. So unrestricted is known as operational grants, right? So that's what people are going to see when they're applying. They're not necessarily going to see restricted versus unrestricted. That's usually when you're talking with a community foundation. They're explaining what grants they have, like restricted versus unrestricted. But the operations grant money, that's equal to unrestricted because you can put you can apply wherever you want. Housing or IT or marketing or your building lease or whatever, right? So you decide for unrestricted. So that's the big difference. I explained operation versus program project service, but sometimes you might see restricted versus unrestricted, but that just means there's restriction on how and where you can use the money. So you're not going to get a copy of today's presentation, but you will get the replay, so you'll have everything. All right. Okie dokie. All right. So thank you so much. Those are the questions in the Q&A. Let me go back to the chat one more time. Oh, the link for tonight and Thursday, I put in the chat. So I put it into the chat. Or did I put it into the Q&A? Where did I put it? Let's see. Oh, there we are. I put it into the Q&A. I put in the Q&A. Okay, let me put it into the chat. So this is the link for tonight. All right, that's the link for tonight. Let me make sure. Grant writing for non-writers. Grant writing for, yep. And then this is the link for the the webinar for Black organizations is Thursday. Let me put that into the chat. All right, so that's where they can sign up. All right, for either women tonight at 7. And next week, too, I have 2 more for women next week. But when you go to the link, you can sign up for whichever one you want, because I have live webinars this week and then next week, and then there'll be a little break. All right. So thank you, Dorothy. Thank you, Oshara, Latanya. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. I appreciate it. I think I've gone through all of the questions. So thank you again. Hopefully, just move forward. I don't want you to be in the same place next week that you're in now, because I want you to take advantage of the resource, get the help, do it in a community. That is so important, especially you saw how people are getting scammed. Do this in a community of like-minded individuals who can help you, because you can learn from me, you can learn from the other students, right? We have professional grant writers that are students. So learn in a safe space, a safe community where people are not trying to rip you off or scam you. So thank you so much, everyone. Again, my name is Linda Peavy. I'm the owner of Apov Consulting, LLC, and I am the creator of the course, Grant Writing for Non-Writers, Keys to Winning Grant Proposals. I want to thank everybody again for joining us. Hopefully, I will see you in the Facebook group, and hopefully I'll see you in the group coaching session, because I want you to get grant money. It's time for you to get grant money. It's time. Please don't wait. We're almost at the end of March. Please don't wait anymore. All right. Thank you so much. And hopefully I will see everybody soon.